Hey everyone, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful time, a wonderful day. I wanted to say and share today, have you ever felt like you're being juiced? What do you mean juiced? I'm not talking about being punked. I'm talking about being juiced. And in other words, you're being pressed, right? Whether it's pressed mentally, you're being pressed down, or whether you're physically being pressed down, right? You have this feeling that you're under pressure. And there's a story in the Bible, right? And it goes like this. David is being pursued by Saul, who was trying to kill him. He has tried in the past and he failed, and now he's pursuing David, and David is fleeing for his life. You see, Saul was made king by God, but he hasn't been doing the things that God told him to do. And so, in short, God is ripping or stripping the kingdom away from Saul, and he's going to give it to David. Right? David's the one who slew Goliath. David was the one that kept the sheep for his father. Right? And then Samuel came and anointed David to be king. Right? He would be the next king. But currently, Saul is the king, and so. Saul is eyeing up David because he knows that David has been a better person than him. He's been a better man than him. He's been wise in all his doings and all his living, right? And so Saul was disobedient, and so now he wants to take David out. And so David is going through a time that he is being pursued by the king, but David will not turn his hand against Saul, because even though he's pursuing him, right, and Saul is pursuing to kill David, David will not turn his hand against Saul and kill him, right, and just stop the madness, because there's an evil spirit that has been sent to Saul, right, and it's really driving him mad. And really, David had a few times where he could have killed this man. He could have taken this man out, but he didn't. And so David is fleeing for his life. And in Samuel 22, right, 22 and 1 through 2, it says, David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. And every one that was in distress, and every one that was in debt, and every one that was discontented, gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them. And there were with him about 400 men. So you have people that are in distress, people that are in immense pressure, internal turmoil, right, coming to him. And people that are in debt, people that owe other people, right? They have an obligation to pay things back, are coming to him. People that are in major distress, right? They're in fear for their life. It seems like death is all around them, right? And they have every reason to feel like giving up. They have every reason to feel this way, but they come to David, and David knows what it feels like because David has been pursued um, by folks that are trying to take his life. You know, David has been on the run. He's been hungry, right? But you see, he's a warrior. And you see, you're a warrior. And these times of distress and these times of indebtedness and these times of discontentedness, right? What if these times are for your good, or to this pressing down that you're feeling, this pressing down that we felt in life? What if this is actually an opportunity to be refined, an opportunity to come out like wine, even an opportunity for the dross to come, if you will, for the dross to flow to the top, and you come out refined like gold, right? And so I wanted to encourage you today that this pressing mentally, pressing physically, maybe you're going through some things in your life, and medically, right? Maybe you're going through some medical conditions, or maybe you've been diagnosed with A, B, and C. Well, I believe that there's hope for you. I was diagnosed with A, B, and C, and I was able to get a life altering, life changing major surgery that extracted the tumor from my body, right? A couple of years ago. And since then, they discovered some other things in some of my in an organ. And you know what? I believe that I'm healed. I believe that was born for the times that I'm living in. And God didn't bring me this far, and God didn't bring you this far to let you go, to leave you alone. I don't believe that. And so I wanted to encourage you today to keep pressing forward, to keep pressing on, and to be encouraged by the stories and the principles that we find there in the Bible. Okay? You know, David was a man who was doing something. He was a man who was tending to his father's business of keeping the sheep, right? And when a lion or a bear came, he delivered the sheep from the mouth of the lion and the mouth of the bear, and he killed them, right? He was a protector, right? He was, I would say, being bred to lead a nation. He was being bred to lead a people, even at a young age, right? And so when his time came to be anointed king by Samuel, through Samuel by God, God told Samuel to go and anoint one of the sons of Jesse. And so God has a plan for you, just like God had a plan for David. And that plan did not come without pressing. It did not come without Ziklag, if you will. You know, some people get um, jet lag, but David was going through Ziklag, and he would live in a place called Ziklag, right? Which was a place of refuge, but it also meant like a pressing, like a trying place, right? So a lot of you and a lot of us in our lives, we're looking forward and we're looking ahead to the future, right? But each thought and each day and each step that we take is another moment in our future, even because, even as I say, the future, it's the future. And so just that quickly, our present time, we're living in the present, And soon as a second, and soon as a millisecond, and soon as 2 seconds and 3 seconds goes by, we are now in the future. So um, David had his ziklag. He had his time of pressing, his time of trials, his time of facing death, facing fears, you know. But it it needs to be that way, I would say, right? Just like grapes, they're whole. Grapes, they come in all different shapes and sizes, yet to get that wine, right, it has to be pressed out. It has to be trampled upon, stepped on, squeezed, pressed and pressed and pressed until the juice comes out, until that good juice comes out, that wine that's good for wine, right? And so I hope this was helpful and useful for you today, and be encouraged that your the time of your pressing and the times, the hardship times and the things that you're going through personally are necessary, right, for where you're going. So I hope this was helpful and useful for you guys. Until next time, great grace and plenty of peace to you.